Hello students, myself CB Manoj from MIT Junior College of London. Today I am here to explain you about human reproduction. I had already introduced the term human reproduction in my previous lecture. I would directly like to focus on the main theme of the chapter, which is the male reproductive system encompasses the primary sex organ as well as the secondary sex organ. The primary sex organs in case of male are the testes, which produces the male gametes called as sperms or spermatozoa. The secondary sexual organs involve the reproductive duct, which helps in transporting the gametes, and there are some accessory glands present, which is nothing but the what do you call the seminal vesicle, prostate gland, etc. The main part of the male reproductive system is the testes. Testes, which are initially present in the abdominal region, but it descends down during the seventh month of the development of the fetal life. This testes, which is descending down in the scrotal sac, the scrotal sac are present below the abdomen. The testis has to descend down in the scrotal sac. If it does not descend down in the scrotal sac, it gives rise to a sterility phenomena, which we call it as cryptorchidism. Now, this scrotal sac or the presence of testes in the scrotal sac has got some importance. Scrotal sac or the scrotum helps in acting as a thermoregulator. The scrotum, the testes which are present in the scrotum, can function only at the temperature 2 degrees Celsius below to our body temperature. This temperature is maintained by the scrotum. That's the reason why the testes, along with some other part, has to descend down in the scrotal sac. It is not only the testes which are descending from the abdomen into the scrotal sac. Along with the testes, the epididymis, the testicular end of spermatic cord, all this comes down or descends down the scrotal sac. Testes, how does it appear to be? They are soft, they are smooth, they are pinkish oval organ, which is 4.5 centimeter in length, 2.5 centimeter in width. They are mesodermal in origin. Since they are located outside the abdomen in the scrotum, they are called as extra-abdominal in position. They are present in the scrotal sac by means of spermatic cord. Spermatic cord is the one which holds the testes in the scrotum. Along with spermatic cord, there is one more, one more band, fibromuscular in nature, which is called as gubernaculum, which is present over here. This is the testis, this is the scrotal sac, the gubernaculum is present between the two, which will hold the testis in position in the scrotal sac. So along with testes, the blood vessels, the peritoneum, the lymph vessels, the nerves, and vasa differentia also descends down in the scrotum. And next, how does this testes appears to be? What is the internal structure of testes is the next part of our discussion. This testes is made up of 200 to 300 lobules. 200, 300 lobules. Lobules means it's a compartment. And the lobules are formed by tunica albuginea, which is inverting inside or invaginating inside the testes, giving rise to compartment. There are total 200, 300 lobules, and in each lobule, there are 1 to 3 convoluted loops, which are called as seminiferous tubules. That is, in each, in each lobule, in each compartment, you will be having near about 900 seminiferous tubules. Now, how 900? I said there are 300 lobules, which is the maximum is 300, and maximum convoluted tubules in each lobule is 3. So 300, if you multiply 3, you will get 900. So total 900 seminiferous tubules in each compartment. These tubules, they converge toward the posterior end and they form a rete testis. Rete testis, this testis, in turn, they give rise to fine convoluted ductals, which we call it as vasa efferentia. Now, the next part is about the histology of testes. What all the different parts of testes will be discussed in the next slide. Before I start with the tails of testes, now what all structure is you can see over here, the same structure will be seen over here. But for to be in the simplicity, we have just shown the structure present only on the one side. Whatever goes over here, same goes over here as well. There is a C-shaped structure which surrounds this testis is nothing but called as epididymis. Epididymis cannot be seen from the front side of the testis. It can be seen only from behind. Even though it is a C-shaped structure, epididymis is a highly coiled structure which is 6 meters long. This epididymis, which is a coiled structure, which seems to be a C-shaped structure, is made up of three parts: upper part, middle part, and lower part. Upper part is a head region called a scapute epididymis. The middle part is a narrower body or corpus epididymis, and the lower duct is wider called as a tail or cauda epididymis. In the head of the epididymis, the sperms, this part, the head of the epididymis, the sperms undergo physiological maturation, and there's increase in the motility for fertilizing with the ovum. In the tail region, down over here in the tail region, the sperms are stored for a shorter period and enter the vasa deferens. Spermatozoa or the sperms, they are produced irrespective of whether the ejaculation takes place or not. The sperms which are, even though it's not ejaculated, are reabsorbed in this vasa deferens. Next. Now, this tube-like structure which can be seen on the other side. Over here, this is vas deferens. Even over here, you can see one more vas deferens. So this vas deferens, they are the tube-like structures. These tube-like structures, they arises from this lower portion of epididymis, which is the tail portion of epididymis, which enters into this abdominal region, which is called as the urinary bladder. So this urinary bladder, which is the abdominal region, is connected with that of the vas deferens. Now, the next part, this is the ureter, this is the vas deferens. This two, what you call the vas deferens, they unite with each other, giving rise to a common duct, which we call it as urethra, which is coming out from the urinary bladder. This urinary bladder is helpful in storage of the urine, and the other part, which we are calling it as urethra, has got one more name, which we call it as urinogenital tract or urinogenital duct. Next, now the next, if you can see over here, these are the seminal vesicles. This seminal vesicles, then bulbourethral gland, all these prostate gland, all these are the accessory glands which will be discussed later. Next, what happens over here? You can see some structure which we call as seminal vesicle, which is coming out from here. This seminal vesicle shows presence of duct. This duct are called as seminal duct, which will unite with the vas deferens. And the union of the vas deferens with the duct, seminal vesicle duct, is giving rise to one more duct, which we call it as ejaculatory duct. So urine which is coming out from urinary bladder enters urethra, but vas deferens will carry the sperms along with it, because vas deferens comes in contact with the epididymis, and epididymis is the one which will receive the sperms from the testes. So from here, the testes, from the testes, the sperms moves or ascends upside, going to the vas deferens, entering the vas deferens, and from here it enters into the ejaculatory duct, which is present over here. And ejaculatory duct is nothing but the union of vas deferens and the duct of the seminal vesicle. Next, urethra on its lower side is also called as urinogenital duct, because it will carry urine as well as the sperm along with it. Next, one more is ejaculatory duct. That's what I have explained it to you. Next is the urethra. The male urethra, it provides a common pathway for the flow of urine and the secretion of the male. Now, the duct which is coming out from the duct which is formed from the union of vas deferens and the seminal vesicle is called as the ejaculatory duct, which gets which includes both the urine as well as the sperm. Next, when you talk about urethra, this urethra is made up of three parts. This particular part is made up of three parts. The first part is surrounded by prostate gland. The second part is the membranous urethra. But the first part, which is surrounded by this prostate gland, it carries only the urine. The second part, which is called as the membranous urethra, which is present at the near the prostate gland and the root of penis, it carries both urine as well as the semen. The third part, which is the penile urethra, is situated in the penis, which will carry both urine and the semen. Next, when you talk about penis, that is this particular part, which is a copulatory organ in male. This penis is cylindrical in nature. They are erectile and pendulous organs. Urethra, which is coming from this urinary bladder, is passing throughout the penis. Next, this penis, it contains two posterolateral tissues called as corpora cavernosa and median corpus spongiosum. Urethra passes through corpus spongiosum. Therefore, it is called as spongial urethra. Near the tip of the penis, the corpus spongiosum is enlarged. You can see here it's slightly enlarged as compared to the other portion of the penis. This enlarged structure, it forms sensitive part which is called as glans penis. This is covered by a loose retractable fold of skin called as prepuce or foreskin. Next slide. Yes, of testes. Already explained, this testes is made up of some lobules or what you call it as compartments. Each of these compartments shows seminiferous tubes, which can be more near about 900 in number in each compartment. This seminiferous tubules, they are made up of germinal epithelium layer. The outer layer of the seminiferous tubule is made up of germinal epithelium or germ cells, we can call it as, because it gives rise to sperm. Next, in between this germinal epithelium, in between the seminiferous tubules, there are some connective tissues present over here. This connective tissue shows presence of some cells which we call it as interstitial cells or cells of Leydig, which helps in the secretion of a hormone, male hormone, which is called as testosterone after puberty. The outer layer of this testes is called as tunica albuginea. Now, when we focus on the one particular structure of seminiferous tubule, you can see some cells present on the outer layer, and there are some cells in between. The continuity is lost. So, these pyramidal cells are nothing but called as Sertoli cell or nurse cell. The name suggests that the Sertoli cell nourishes the testes. The head part of the sperms are linked with this Sertoli cell, while these are the tail portion. So this other one more point is, if you can see over here, these cells which are present on the outer layer are the germ cells, which undergoes what we call it as the different stages of spermatogenesis, and it gives rise to sperms. So these are the sperms inside, and the head of the sperm are linked with this pyramidal cells which we call as Sertoli cells, and these are the tail portion of it. Next point is, next discussion, accessory glands of the male reproductive system. Now, what do you mean by the word accessory? Accessory means along with the required organs of the male reproductive system, the assistants of the main male organ. Those are the seminal vesicles, Next is the prostate gland. The third one is the Cowper's gland. Now, what is this all about? Accessory glands, the first one which I'm talking about, the seminal vesicle. The seminal vesicle, these are two in number. They are small fibromuscular pouches. These are present on the posterior side of the urinary bladder. They show presence of duct, and the duct of the seminal vesicle unites with the vasa deferens, giving rise to ejaculatory duct, which carries both the urine as well as the semen. The seminal vesicle in turn secretes a fluid which is viscous in nature, and that fluid is called as seminal fluid, which will secrete fructose, fibrinogen as well as prostaglandins. And the total seminal fluid contributes about 60% of the total volume of the semen. Fructose, fibrinogen, prostaglandins, each one has got its own role. Fructose, they provide energy to the sperms for swimming, because sperms, they are motile in nature. They have to move towards the egg. So the energy provided for the movement of the sperm is provided by fructose. Prostaglandins are the one which will stimulate the contraction on the female reproductive system for the process of fertilization. Fibrinogen is the one which helps in the coagulation or the clotting of the semen after its ejaculation. Next accessory gland is prostate gland. Prostate gland also secretes a fluid, which is prostatic fluid, which is whitish liquid forming about 30% of total volume of semen. This prostate gland is made up of 20 to 30 separate lobes, and it helps in its secretion. The prostatic fluid, that secretion helps in neutralizing the acidity of the vaginal secretion. The vaginal secretion is acidic in nature, but an acidic pH does not help in fertilization. Hence, that pH, acidic pH, has to be converted into basic or neutral pH. This forms, because of this presence of the prostatic fluid, it facilitates the process of fertilization at a pH 6 to 6.5. Next is Cowper's gland. This Cowper's gland is also called as bulbo-urethral gland. They are paired structure. They are two in number. They are pea-sized structure situated on either side of membranous urethra. They secrete an alkaline viscous fluid which will neutralize the acid that is present in the penile urethra due to the previous urination, and also helps in lubrication of the vaginal part of the female genital tract. Now, the fructose, which is secreted or which is present in the seminal fluid, it helps them. It provides in to detect a forensic case. In a rape case, this fructose, which is present only in the seminal fluid and it's not present anywhere else in the human body, presence of fructose in female genital tract confirms the sexual intercourse. Next, the last part of today's topic is, what is the semen? Semen is a fluid which is ejaculated during the sexual intercourse. It is a whitish fluid which contains the sperms, or which we call it as spermatozoa. And this semen, it is a mixture of fluid or the secretions from the seminal vesicle, from the prostate gland, and from the Cowper's gland. A single ejaculation, it releases near about 3 to 4 ml of semen, and this contains 300 million sperms. But 300 million sperms are not required for the fertilization. Only one sperm fertilizes with the ovum. The release of large number of sperm ensures the process of fertilization. Fine, that's all for today's lecture. Thank you.